Welcome to the Best of XAT from IMS. My name is Kumud Choudhary and today we're going to be taking a look at some poem-based questions from XAT 2021. Poem-based questions are fairly interesting because we can solve them quickly. The flip side, however, is that you should be able to understand the poet's message. Let's take a look at this poem. Now, I was very intrigued by the simplicity of this poem, so I actually did some background research. So this poem is called Sit. It's by XAT. You do not need to have this background information in order to solve the questions, however. Unlike some of the poetry that we have seen in the past, this poem is fairly easy to understand barring a few words and phrases. It's very important to understand the author's overall message, however, because if you look at the question, it talks about what is the essence of the poem. If you don't understand the poet's message, it will be difficult to answer this question. So it would be a good idea to read the poem right now and try to pick out an answer on your own. I'm fairly sure that you did not take too long to read the poem, although it might have taken you longer to pick out an answer. So let's try and understand the poem first and then we will eliminate the options. The first stanza here says, "Sit, drink your coffee here, your work can wait." Well, it's fairly easy to understand what the poet is saying. The poet is saying, let's take a break from work. Let's talk about nothing and relax. Again, not too many words that might have troubled you, but in case you were troubled by words such as wit or vacuities, it's okay. All that the author is really seeking is a break from work, it seems. The second stanza is slightly more difficult. The world is too opaque, distressing and profound. So this is saying that the world is sort of confusing and therefore the short time I spend with you is very important to me. This 20 minutes rendezvous will make my day. Last two lines again are fairly important and there's a question based on these as well. To sit here in the sun with grackles all around. Most of us may not know what grackles are. Well, grackles are birds. But why is the poet saying grackles all around? Again, it's poetry, so this is going to symbolize something. The poet is saying that I'll enjoy spending time with you even if there are birds, grackles or others watching us. So when it says grackles all around staring with beady eyes, you need to understand what beady eyes mean. Beady eyes are glittering eyes, and glittering eyes normally signify either skepticism, doubt, suspicion, malice. They never signify anything good. So when the poet says, with grackles all around staring at us with beady eyes, the meaning of that is that when we are meeting, there might be others who are observing us. But let's not worry about them. You're 2 feet away from me and that's good enough. So the author's message simply is, let's take a break and spend some time together. Hence, the simplicity is intriguing. But what is the essence of the poem? Let's take a look at our options. Let's celebrate our existence, not our work. Well, yes, we are talking about taking a break from work, but there is no celebration anywhere. It's just saying that we should spend some time with each other. So A is kind of going beyond the scope of the poem and we should eliminate it. The second one looks very interesting. Let's eat, drink and be merry in the lap of nature. A lot of us might feel that this is the right answer because the poem talks about sitting in the sun. But you can sit in the sun anywhere. It is not necessarily going to signify the lap of nature. The author is also not really saying, let's eat, drink and be merry. The author is simply trying to say, let's take a short break from work. So B again kind of goes beyond the author's message. The third option, let's create our own meaning in life no matter what. It is the last 3 words that should raise a red flag for you. No matter what. The author is not really being extreme. The author is not really saying that we have a meaningless existence and we need to create our own meaning. So again, C is a little more profound as compared to what the author means to be. The author is simply saying, let's take a break, not let's create meaning. So we should eliminate C as well. The fourth option, let's be gibberish. Gibberish means nonsensical, not rational about life. In the first stanza, when the author says that there is no need for wit, it means we don't have to talk about intelligent things. We can talk about anything silly or nonsensical. So he is kind of saying that let's be gibberish, not rational about life. But this is inaccurate. The author is not saying that we don't have to be rational about life in general. The author is merely trying to say that we need to take some time out from our schedule and spend some time together. So D again goes beyond the scope of the passage. The last option, let's enjoy a moment of peace in this busy life. That's pretty much it. That was the main idea that we had captured as our shadow answer as well. So if you have understood the message, then E has to be the right answer. By the way, this poem is called Sit and it is by Vikram Seth. And the whole message is take some time out. You don't have to work all the time, and sometimes spending time with someone important is important.
If you are going to take the XAT and are wondering what exactly to do over the next few days, we have a very special video for you in which we have discussed the pattern of the test, the sectional cutoffs, the preparation strategy and the attempt strategy. You can visit the video by clicking on the I button above or from the link in the description box below. Happy learning!
Now let's take a look at the second question related to the same poem. The second question says, what does the poet best convey by mentioning grackles in these lines? And then it talks about the last two lines. We've already talked about this. Grackles literally mean blackbirds. But when it says grackles all around and sitting in the sun, it's not really talking about grackles in a pleasant way. The grackles are observing these two people with beady eyes, with suspicion. So the author or the poet is talking about being observed. Grackles could signify birds or they could mean people as well. Now let's keep this in mind and take a look at our options. We should not care about grackles but us. That's kind of what the poet is trying to say, that we will be observed by others, but you're only 2 feet away from me and we should kind of just focus on each other and talk about nothing. So A should be retained. Over witty discussions, grackles are the pleasant birds to look at. This option is entirely incorrect because we are not having witty discussions in this poem. In fact, the first stanza clearly says that we don't have to be witty. Grackles are pleasant birds. When we say that they're staring with beady eyes, then we're not saying anything pleasant about them. So B should be eliminated straight away. The third option says grackles love to stare at us, which might be true according to the poem, but they maintain a 2 feet distance. The poem says that the two people are 2 feet away from each other. How far are the grackles? We really don't know. So C distorts a little bit of the text and therefore should be eliminated. A small bird like grackle can give us lots of happiness. Again, beady eyes clearly says that the grackles are not going to do anything nice for us. If you have forgotten what beady eyes signify, beady eyes means glittering eyes, which kind of means that someone is looking at you with suspicion or malice. So grackles are probably not there to give us any happiness. D should be eliminated. Now, grackles like humans love to bask in the sun. They are sitting in the sun and the grackles are all around. So perhaps the grackles also like to spend time in the sun. But we don't really know if that is a general habit that grackles have. So E is not really the author's main point. And otherwise also, it is not something that we can derive from the poem. So if we have to make a choice, we should eliminate E and pick A as our answer. The last two lines are simply trying to say that we will be observed by others, but we should focus on each other because this time is important. So A is the answer. Again, make sure that you do give poem-based questions a shot. Sometimes they can be fairly simple.